Welcome back to HBM's Cryptid-Corner, folks. I'm your host, Henry May, and I'm thrilled you've decided to join me on this adventure into the unknown. You know, ever since I was a kid, I've been captivated by stories of mysterious creatures lurking just beyond the veil of our understanding. Cryptids, as we call them, represent the untamed corners of our world, the places where myth and reality intertwine. Today, we're diving. Buckle up, grab your magnifying glasses and your thinking caps, and get ready to explore the world of cryptids. Remember, in the world of cryptozoology, the truth is often stranger than fiction. Let's get started.
Hope you guys like my new intro. I created that with nvideo.ai. Anyway, we've got no less than 20 links on our show this week. Starting off with video, peculiar paw prints left behind by legendary Australian phantom panther.
America has Bigfoot, Scotland has the Loch Ness Monster, and we have the Blue Mountains Panther. Tonight there's fresh evidence adding to the folklore of the big cat, or cats, roaming Sydney's outskirts.
This could be the latest chapter in a Sydney story that has bubbled along for decades. These steps in compacted sand.
Compacted enough that I could walk on it and not leave a mark.
The mystery on four legs. The Blue Mountains Panther. Often seen but never confirmed. So far, this new episode in the Chronicles of the Ranging Big Cat begins on Sunday morning in Kenthurst, when landscaper Dan Studders found these large paw prints in ground prepared for turf, filled compressed with tractor and roller.
The roller was there just more smearing out the kids' footmarks after. But yeah, it's definitely compacted.
For Dan, they do not look like the trail of a domestic dog or cat.
It's something that was quite big, and it definitely drew my attention.
And this mystery on four legs may well have 8.
Definitely one bigger and one smaller.
Dan placing his size 11 Havianas alongside for scale.
The second video that I got was actually the stride of the thing, where it's probably close to 2 metres in between each stride.
For decades, the rumours of its existence have ranged from Lithgow and back over the Great Dividing Range. Much like the feline enigma itself, occasionally, allegedly, caught on camera. Except for the last time I did the Mystery Panther story, which ended up being a big house moggy called Toby. But for the locals of Kenthurst, the legend lives in the bush behind it.
There's been a few nights down the back where you hear things and it's not exactly right.
In Kenthurst, Mike Dalton, 9 News.
Interesting. Could this possibly be this phantom panther in the land down under? That's a good question. We don't know for sure, obviously. But still something to think about. Hopefully, parents are keeping their kids indoors at night, keeping them safe from potential mauling and perhaps death. If there's any more updates on this, I'll keep you guys posted on it. And here's a fascinating editorial from David Zegan. This is the Bigfoot Forensics website. Do we really want to find Bigfoot? And he goes over the pros and cons of the possibility of discovery of the Sasquatch. On the one hand, he says that it would be a good thing to solve the mystery, but on the other hand, it could wind up being more trouble than it's worth. But it's a fascinating editorial, and I really enjoyed reading it. I think you guys will too. Of course, I'm going to link it below. And here's a series of articles by David Zegan, or FD Zegan. How deer really see us? course, the aforementioned, do we really want to find Bigfoot? Utilizing impression evidence in crime scene reconstruction, shooting incident considerations, and UV and IR photography and cyanoacrylate fumed semi-porous evidence. And I will certainly include the link to this below as well. Study determines states with best odds of spotting Bigfoot. An enlightening new study has determined the states wherein one has the best odds of spotting Bigfoot. The unique project was, appropriately enough, produced by the online gambling site BetOhio. Based on information from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, the company used no specific formula to find the hypothetical odds of a Sasquatch sighting occurring in each state. The final result was a list of 15 locations in which encountering the cryptid was most promising. And of course, no surprise, at the top of the rankings was Washington State. And rounding out the top 5 were California, Florida, Ohio, and Illinois. Interesting. Not that I encourage gambling, mind you, but still very interesting odds. Video. Webcam watcher captures first virtual Nessie sighting of 2025. It's our old friend Owen O. failed again. Who does he have Nessie on the brain? I didn't see anything. Did anybody else see anything? Maybe I'm missing something. Oh wait, what's that supposed to be? I can't tell one way or the other. He claims he saw one long hump and a smaller hump to the right of this, which he surmised to be the possible head of the creature. I couldn't see anything. Maybe I need to get my eyes checked, but I could not see anything. Supposedly 2 humps and a head. I didn't see it. If anybody else saw anything, let me know in the comments below. But I saw nothing. Maybe Mr. O failed again, has Bigfoot, or has Nessie on the brain. It's entirely possible. There is an article somebody pointed out on Facebook. The scientist Grover Krantz risked it all, chasing Bigfoot. The dedicated anthropologist donated his body to science and it's on display, but his legacy is complicated. Now here's a photo of Dr. Krantz with one of his Irish wolfhounds. I think that's Clyde. And here are their bones in the Smithsonian. I think I've already covered this story before, but I'll include the link to anybody who hasn't seen it yet, who hasn't read this one, and the link will be below. But the thing about Grover Krantz is he stuck his neck out in an era where if you were interested in fringe subjects, you didn't stick your neck out. but Grover Krantz stuck his neck out, and we are forever appreciative to him for doing that. There's a new book, speaking of David Zegan, he has a new book out called Casting Bigfoot Evidence, a Guide, which was just released this last Monday, February 10th. Unraveling the mysteries of Bigfoot requires more than just folklore and field expeditions. It demands precision, patience, and the right tools for preserving evidence. Casting Bigfoot Evidence, a Guide, offers an unparalleled guide for serious researchers and enthusiasts alike, blending traditional casting methods with cutting-edge technologies to ensure the accurate preservation of footprints in diverse environments. This comprehensive resource thoroughly explores every detail, from selecting the right materials for substrates like snow, mud, sand, and gravel to employing advanced techniques such as 3D scanning and photogrammetry. The book emphasizes strategies for working in extreme conditions such as rapid temperature changes, wet or uneven ground, and unstable slush, providing readers with practical solutions to overcome common challenges. Whether it's addressing partial impressions or stabilizing delicate prints in loose soil, readers will gain the expertise needed to preserve even the most elusive evidence with precision. Written by an experienced forensic investigator with over 20 years in law enforcement and expertise in crime scene investigation, fingerprint examination, and forensic science. Excuse me. Whew, sorry. This book reflects a deep understanding of evidence collection. The author, F.D. Zegan, is a certified latent fingerprint examiner and crime scene technician who has testified as an expert witness on numerous occasions, having served as a consultant and instructor in advanced forensic techniques at the National Forensic Academy and other esteemed institutions. Zegan brings a wealth of knowledge and first-hand experience to the table. With a successful yet detailed approach, Casting Bigfoot Evidence, a Guide, not only provides readers with essential methodologies, but also highlights the importance of scientific rigor in cryptid research. By combining traditional fieldwork with modern forensic advancements, the book paves the way for a more credible and professional approach to Bigfoot investigation, ensuring that every cast tells a story and preserves a legend. Whether you're a curious explorer or a seasoned field investigator, this guide offers the essential skills, tools, and mindset needed to transform impressions into irrefutable evidence. So it looks like this is a must-have for anybody who's interested in field research. I suppose it can also be for those who are not exactly field people. So, very interesting. Looks like a must-have book. Speaking of books, Daniel Perez was on Coast to Coast AM last late Thursday night / early Friday morning. Longtime Bigfoot enthusiast and researcher Daniel Perez talked about his study of the Patterson-Gimlin film site and related imagery. The famous Patterson-Gimlin film, shot in Bluff Creek, 1967, in Bluff Creek, California, is considered by many to be one of the best and clearest images of the enigmatic creature. Perez lamented the loss of the original footage and explained that while copies exist, the original remains unavailable. In recent years, the footage has been digitally stabilized, and what you see in that film is a female, Perez pointed out, based on observable breasts. He compared the scrutiny of the Patterson-Gimlin footage to that of the Zapruder film of the Kennedy assassination, noting that if it really is a man in a costume, then you should be able to duplicate it, and to date, no one has. Perez also addressed claims by Bob Hieronymus, who allegedly wore a Bigfoot suit, during the filming, arguing that the physical evidence and testimonies from that time cast doubt on such claims. Perez introduced his new book, Bigfoot at Bluff Creek, a comprehensive pictorial exploration of the film and its legacy, available for $39.54 by contacting him at the email address on his website. Rather than a paranormal or interdimensional creature, Perez believes Bigfoot is an elusive animal or advanced primate that possibly migrated to the U.S. from the Bering Strait land bridge. The researcher drew parallels between Bigfoot and the abominable snowman or Yeti, suggesting that while they may share a common ancestor, their physical descriptions differ. He shared his personal experiences, recalling a moment in 1980 when he found large tracks in Hammett, California, which fueled his curiosity. And I listened to the interview, and it was really great. And he decided he was going to make a shout out to me. And he did. I didn't ask him to, and it was unexpected. So to get a shout out from Daniel on international radio, that felt pretty cool. He was describing the way I felt about his book, that I gave it a 20, a perfect 20, rather than a 10, 11, or 12. And he was very pleased with that. So, it was very cool. But it's a great interview. It really is. It's really good stuff. And I'm going to include this PDF in the link in the description below as well. The link to this PDF about the book release of Bigfoot at Bluff Creek. Of course, here's the cover. Y'all have seen the cover already. But you can email Daniel at perez952@sbcglobal.net to get a hold of your copy. If you haven't gotten one already, that is. 2024 Bigfooter of the Year, Todd Prescott, has released a 4-part series on his YouTube channel, The Sasquatch Archives, called Before Bluff Creek, Blue Creek Mountain Revisit. There's 4 parts to this. In a fascinating video from the YouTube channel The Sasquatch Archives, we learn about a lesser-known event that occurred before the famous Patterson-Gimlin film. The video, titled Before Bluff Creek, Blue Creek Mountain Revisit Part 1, delves into the history of Sasquatch research and sheds light on an event that has sparked Roger Patterson's interest in Bluff Creek. John Green and Renee DeHenden, 2 well-known figures in the Sasquatch community, received a call in August 1967 about possible Sasquatch prints found on Onion Mountain Road. Although the prints were not in great condition, they left their contact information and returned home to Canada. The following day, they received a call from Bud Ryerson, a lead contractor working in the area, informing them that more prints had been discovered on Blue Creek Mountain. So this goes over, it's a 4-part series that goes over the history that occurred in that late August, early September time period. This was Labor Day weekend, 1967. Read Justin Seaver's excellent book, The Abominable Snowman of California, to find out more about this particular event. But this is a series of videos from Todd Prescott discussing these events. And regardless of what you may think of those footprints, they served as inspiration for Roger Patterson to come down to the Bluff Creek area and get the film of what many believe is an actual Sasquatch. He actually gotten a phone call from either John or his wife while he was away at Mount St. Helens along with Bob Gimlin, Roger Patterson's wife, Patricia, got a call from either John Green or Al Hodgson saying there's footprints down here. I think it was Al Hodgson who called his home. I'm not sure. I think it was Al Hodgson. Because John Green had told Al Hodgson about the footprints, and then Al Hodgson called Roger Patterson, or called Roger Patterson's home. So it's a fascinating history. Now here's something from Cliff Barackman. Unraveling Bigfoot's History, the significance of the first cast and Laredo findings. Now the first cast we're talking about wasn't actually the first cast. The first cast was the one from late Sheriff's Deputy of Bellingham, Washington, Joe Dunn. But unfortunately that cast broke many years ago. But Joe Dunn was cognizant enough to make a tracing of that particular cast. And that tracing ended up in the hands of John Green, eventually. And that was the Ruby Creek incident. In a recent video from the North American Bigfoot Center's YouTube channel, the topic of discussion is the individual Sasquatch known as Bigfoot and the footprints associated with this specific creature. The video delves into the history of Bigfoot's footprints, including the cast made by Jerry Crew in 1958, which is the first known cast of a Sasquatch footprint. Actually, well, it's the first one that survived. Like I say, the first one was cast by the late Joe Dunn. The video also discusses a cast made by Bob Titmus, which is a copy of the original 1958 cast. However, Bob Titmus made a mistake in sanding down the cast and coloring it, which is not ideal when creating a cast of a footprint. The original cast should have all the dirt, grime, and rocks still in the cast to provide information about the footprint. That's actually not Laredo, it's Laird Meadow Road casts, which were found in 1963 by Pat Graves, not Guy Graves, and Roger Patterson. I'm like, Laredo, huh? Laredo, Texas? No, they're actually Laird Meadow Road. So once again, Squatchful.com is getting names wrong. Oh boy. They're getting a little bit better, but sometimes they still mess up. But apparently this video is talking about the history of the first cast ever made that survived, obviously. Made by Jerry Crew in 1958. And then it was believed to be the same individual that was casted by Bob Titmus in April of 1963. And then about 6 months later, in October of 63, by Roger Patterson at Laird Meadow Road. And Cliff has had a presentation about recurring individuals in Sasquatch research, recurring individual footprints, which is pretty fascinating. And it's fascinating that there were so many different casts made and so many different footprints found in the area. Now, Titmus, the cast that he made was in Hyampom, California, which is a pretty good distance away from Bluff Creek. But it's not unheard of, I don't think. It wasn't unheard of at that time for there to be footprints found in the Hyampom area. So, obviously Sasquatch has to travel. And that's what they did. Now, about 2 weeks ago, the Sasquatch Experience had a show called Bigfoot and Orbs, where we discuss this phenomenon where individuals out researching Sasquatch sometimes run across strange orbs. That's not to say that they're connected to Sasquatch, but I was out call blasting one night back in 2010, and I saw this strange light up in the sky. I don't think it was an orb, but it was bluish white. It streaked across the sky, and I thought at first it might be a firework, but there was no sound to it. So, anyway, our discussion was very interesting. Now, this individual got my comments wrong. I never said anything about unicorns. I said that I'd seen a white light, a bluish white light in the sky. I don't remember encouraging open-mindedness when considering the existence of orbs and their possible connection to Bigfoot. Maybe I was mixed up with somebody else. And come to think of it, I don't remember anybody mentioning unicorns on our show. Least of all, me. I don't like to be misquoted. I never said anything about unicorns on that show. Or encouraging open-mindedness about the existence of orbs and their possible connection to Bigfoot. I mean, I'm not going to deny that people have seen orbs while they're out looking for Sasquatch. But I don't know if there's any connection to them or with them or not. But still, it's a fascinating subject. Here's something interesting. Patterson-Gimlin film, a closer look at compelling Bigfoot evidence. A new video has been making the rounds on YouTube discussing the infamous Patterson-Gimlin film and its significance in the world of Bigfoot research. The video, titled Joe Rogan and the Patterson-Gimlin Film Definitive Answers, featuring Jeff Meldrum and Jane Goodall, was posted up by the YouTube channel Adam K. Made Me Watch This, and has been gaining traction among the Bigfoot community. In the video, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University, and Dr. Jane Goodall, world-renowned primatologist and conservationist, shared their thoughts on the Patterson-Gimlin film and its authenticity. Dr. Meldrum, a well-known Bigfoot researcher, has long been an advocate for the film's legitimacy, while Dr. Goodall remains skeptical. And also Joe Rogan, who of course has the #1 podcast in the world. He's been very skeptical about the PG film and Sasquatch for years. I suppose he's open-minded about it, but he's just very skeptical, which there's nothing wrong with. But it's interesting that Joe Rogan is at least open-minded enough to make the assertion that maybe Sasquatch does exist. Even if in his mind the PG film is not real. Finally, Sasquatch researcher Shane Corson has started up a YouTube channel called Sasquatch in the Mist. There's one video, Welcome to Sasquatch in the Mist, on the channel. It's a good video. I suppose he's going to show himself out in the field researching, which is good. We need to be all about the research. Even for those of us who don't get out in the field. We need to support that research and give it our full support. So, and Shane is very credible. He's been a member of the Olympic Project for quite a while now. He's been in several documentaries. And he's a pretty cool guy. I've met him a couple of times. He's very credible to me. At least I think he is. So check out the video and check out the channel. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, I always mean it. And I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And for 10 years now I've been doing this. Grand total of about 17 years. Because I started the podcast back in 2008 to 2011. That was for about 2.5 years. But the video podcast has been going on for a decade now. And I don't plan to stop now. So, until next week, y'all be good or be good at it. This has been HBM's Crypto Corner.